Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask for a moment of silence as we remember those family members that individuals of this council tragically lost this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Paul Jenderski.
Present.
Michael Nesbitt is absent. Edgar Titoff.
Present.
Kathy Harris.
Present.
Darcy McSwain.
Present.
Jennifer Rosser Nesbitt.
Present.
Any adjustments to the agenda?
I'd like to add new business letter G, Cross Connection Control Program.
Need a motion for that?
Motion to approve the agenda is amended. Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any announcements, public comment? Going once, going twice. Two. Spicer Engineer Report.
Good evening, Council. Austin Alexander from Spicer with a brief update for you guys this month. On the TMF side of things, we've got an item on the agenda to approve the award of that contract to MEC Underground Solutions. They're the low bidder. We opened bids back in February. We've done a lot of work with them in other areas, other communities in Saginaw County. They're well recommended. I think they'll do a great job. And we've already kind of initially had some talks with them because the bids were a lot lower than we were expecting and we're kind of well under the grant amount. We're going to look to add some additional work, additional services for them to dig up and verify the materials on. So we're thinking that based on the unit prices that they bid and the remainder of the work, we'll actually be able to go through and physically verify essentially every service in the village. Other than those that we know we don't need to actually dig up because we've got it written down somewhere, or it's on a new PVC water main, so we know it's not lead galvanized. So just upping us from like a 98% confidence that we're gonna find them all to like a 99.9 that we'll know we'll have seen and put our eyes on every potentially lead or galvanized service in the whole village. So looking good there. Everything's on timeline and within the budget in terms of Spicer's effort as well. So really happy with how that's going so far. On the 2025 water system improvements, getting ready for that this year. We did receive our Eagle permit, so one of the big steps is out of the way. Those can be a chore sometimes, but glad that we got that back with minimal kind of comments and revisions. And so we will work through some of the last items on our RD application. Getting that permit was one of those big steps on that road development application. They want to make sure that the project is permittable before they'll fund it. So looking good there. And then we're going to provide the village with an advertisement for tree removal for the project, so you guys can kind of go out and issue and get some bids maybe for that kind of work. Ongoing work with Safe Routes to School, no major update on my end in terms of that project, and then some few other miscellaneous kind of things we've been helping out with Hart and other requests. But I'll leave it to Art for a code of ordinance update, but any questions on those items?
Well, you're talking another $26,000 a month. I mean, you guys always throw just a bulk number in our face. Some people are asking, is there any way you can kind of, itemize that a little bit? What do you do for the $26,000 or $30,000 every month?
Sure.
Yeah, that's all we're asking for.
Yeah, great question.
Okay.
I think part of it is, I don't know the way you're seeing the 26,000, if it's showing
I mean,
it's
is
different by project.
Administrative fees, we don't know, I
Sure,
mean,
sure, sure.
somebody buying a Corvette, I mean, we don't know.
Right, now you can see the ride I drove here, so it's an old Chevy Malibu, so. But as far as our actual, you know, seeing it broken out by the projects and the tasks, I think the key would be to look at, like, on the invoice, it'll say the task, so design task. And then if you look at our letter agreement from when we first started the project, even that underneath of it'll say design, draw the plans, get the permit, so that would be kind of one way to go back and check.
We can provide a written
Yeah,
summary.
just
But we
something,
can
just a
also do
rough
that.
draft or something. 'cause
Yeah, we can
everybody's going
provide a
like,
written summary.
I don't even see
This
them around,
invoice.
why are we getting charged of this?
For which
I don't
one?
see you around, I mean, I'm not around a lot, but
Oh,
I
Sure.
don't see it.
Part of it too is the things that we run through in this update meeting, so a lot of work communicating with MEC on, getting their letter of recommendation to y'all, working through this change order with them to get those additional services scoped out. So it is a lot more office work right now, but once it gets, warmer out, you'll see a lot more Spicer
I
vests
think
out here.
$26,000 worth of office work is a lot of office work.
You're right, absolutely, we get a lot done for the village. Thank you. I'll leave it to Mark for the code ordinance. Anything added there?
Not a lot on the ordinances, I'm gonna be here next week for the planning commission meeting, we're gonna go through the updates at this point, and, keep moving forward for the month, or for the rest of the year.
When you do your ordinances, do you verify it through some legal service or something? Make sure, like, we had an incident here where it was unconstitutional, do you go through that?
We do, yeah, the best that we can, I mean, obviously, there's things changing all the time with, you know, various laws and things like that, but, yeah, we look it up and do the best we can on those types of things.
You probably don't know yourself though, do you?
I mean, you know, we're not lawyers, so no, we don't keep up on all that stuff all the time, but we, you know, look it up best we can, and I know Hart's got a lot of that legal stuff as well with, you know, what he keeps up on.
And then before it's approved or given to you guys, our village attorney reviews, yes. But not till it's all compiled, we're not sending off every chapter, so we get billed like crazy, we do it all in one piece. Same as we did for the zoning ordinance.
Yeah.
And I would just add the lead and galvanized verification, the state requirement, the lead and copper rule of 2018, you have until 2041. And most municipalities are dragging it out till 2041 because it's not that easy to do. And we should be done this year, 2025. That said, on the safe routes to school, we're still in the review. We're gonna walk the paths, the sidewalks, probably next week, next couple weeks. Verify where properties that might be affected, their yards, their bushes, where we can cross over down Ithaca to the school. I submitted the the quarterly report, the TAP report, which is Transportation Alternative Program, which is where it's funded through the federal government, through the state. So, not with these guys, but with other members. of
Look at that all
Spicer.
being staked out so everybody can see where it's going.
Not till we're not there yet. This is a fall of '26 project, but we're still got to follow the rules. When there's federal government involved, there's state government involved. Like I said last month, you know, the natives, the indigenous people have their own guidelines and historical books where they want us to look for remains and things of that. So it's drawn out.
Are you digging up that much where you're gonna find remains?
They have their own books that they don't share with
General public?
what white people? I don't know. No, normal, yeah, general public. So we don't know what they're gonna find, but we're waiting on their response. I think they had 31 days or something to reply their concerns, and then we can keep moving forward. But homeowners still need to be notified. That's next year. We got to get all the project figured out. So that's all I have for that.
Council minutes approval for March 12th of 2025.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the regular meeting for March 12th of 2025.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Commission and committee reports. Planning Commission, no March meeting. Parking and Recreation Committee, no March meeting. So we go to Downtown Development Authority for April 4th, 2025.
Art, I just have a question on the facade grant.
Yes.
Is there a maximum that they can get?
That's about the max is 10. We haven't gone over 7,500 in the past, but this is a project. So the DDA approved 2 facade grant applications on Friday, 137 South Saginaw and 127 South Saginaw, to fix up the apartments that Mrs. Jendersky owned with the stone facade and new windows. And then next to the library, to the right side of the library, they're gonna have new lighting, new doors, new paint, camera system. And then there's a permit pulled currently for 126 South Saginaw, which is to the right of that building, I believe, where the roof is caved in, and he's going to demo that building and clean it up. So a lot of complaints about light, and we've had a lot of conversation about needing to move. His goal was summer, but he expedited his plans. We approved these, DDA approved these, and I guess the materials are already ordered. So hopefully in the next couple weeks you'll see some nice changes downtown.
Does he have any plans for when he demos the building? Is he just gonna leave it?
He wants to rebuild,
Okay.
but there's some concern with Tony's roof and what his plans are, so we'll figure that out through the process.
Get many people for the Easter egg hunt for volunteers?
I think we're gonna have more than we've ever had. There's some new leadership at both banks that have volunteered. I know the DDA is more involved, and they have the league. Little League has their spring cleanup for the ball fields that afternoon as well. So you'll have a lot of families there and extra parents to help. So.
What is the rail trail signage and who's doing it?
Dan Hellman
I see
is
that.
doing it. So when you come off the rail trail, the signs that you'll see by Dr.
Mile
Klein.
markers and stuff like that?
Not the mile markers, but the village map and then the location of each business. They're trying to update and so people that aren't from here, when they come off, they can see where they can eat, where they can shop, where they can go essentially.
Wayfinding signs.
Yeah, where they can find, where to get their
Tasty burger?
their tires rotated and all the good stuff.
What's going on with the Bishani building?
There is some spillover from the Hemlock Semiconductor and Corning project in Hemlock. That we're going to be in there for a little while. I believe mostly storage. Electric company out of Bay City, but I'm not sure the agreement.
Are they part of that new building that they're building? I'll make a motion to accept the Downtown Development Authority meeting minutes of the regular meeting Friday, April 1st, 2025.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Communications, item A, University of Michigan, March 2025, Fiscal Health of Michigan Local Governments 2023.
So we received these, the mayor receives them in the mail, I believe, and I receive them electronically, but I like to fill them out. They're mostly students at University of Michigan's Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy. They do this for their master's thesis and obtaining information. So this one just happens to be the Fiscal Health of Michigan Local Governments 2023. The conclusion, overall, Michigan's local governments demonstrate varying degrees of fiscal strength with notable differences across jurisdictional types. Cash and budgetary solvency indicators suggest generally strong financial conditions in the short term, though a significant share of local governments struggle with low fund balances, not here, and or general fund deficits, not here. In the long term, pension and OPEB obligations will remain a significant challenge, just as I've said for the last 5.5 years. So, smart and budgetary process, smart with your capital improvement plan. I know a lot of these jurisdictions got bailed out by the state. We haven't had to do that because we didn't qualify, because we made the tough decisions when we had to. So there was another one about fiscal health in the future. I just filled out yesterday, so I look forward to getting the results and sharing those with you.
good on that? Item B, Fleiss and Vanderbrink.
Another engineering firm that we have spoken with and done work with in the past. They send us these quarterly. We do have friends there that we've known from pre-St. Charles that always reach out and want to be considered when we go out to bid. So always keep them in mind, and we're in regular communication. If they think that they can help us and do something, we're always listening to see if they're competitive with Spicer. And this one happens to be on traffic engineering. So.
When was the last time we had someone come in and look at our traffic light and that?
Traffic lights are MDOT, but
Intersections, whatever.
not since, like, basically when we do the projects, we review as we do the projects, like Fulton Hosmer, as we're doing cross connections and things like that. It's been a while. I'd probably say 2019, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, like you said, it's all MDOT type stuff with those lights, so
Yeah.
they would handle it.
Traffic calming.
And then as we update projects, we try to get into ADA compliance if it's feasible and affordable.
I just see there's traffic impact studies, traffic signal mark analysis, safety studies, intersection design.
Payment of claims.
What I got about the McEwen, street sweeper, 11,380, did it go that fast, you ran into a tree or something, or what, come on?
Bart?
That's what's been wrong with it, that's why it didn't sweep for 6 months last year. It's, it had air leaks all over the place, all the cylinders were gone on it.
We were using it though, weren't you?
Huh?
Wasn't it being used?
No, the last 6 months last year, that did not run. It couldn't run, everything was leaking on it, and they came out, they did a 150-point inspection on it.
Must have been a major overhaul for 4 grand.
Not really. Yes and no. Nothing major had to be redone. All the cylinders, the lift arms, a couple of the rubbers, the fan motor that actually causes, all the lining in it was gone. It was all leaking air, and it wouldn't suck anything
How
out.
old is that thing?
We got it about 10 years ago, but it was used when we got it. I don't know the exact date of it. But it replaced one that was about 25 years old. But it works great now.
In the past, I've talked with the manager of Montrose and Chesney, and we've looked into maybe getting one brand new one for all 3 to use, but we couldn't figure out time, date, travel, and things like that. So
I'll say Montrose, Chesney, maybe one of them, there's a few of them that have like where they share the equipment.
Yep.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
We've talked about it, and then the guy from Chesney went. Well, he was let go, and then the guy from Montrose is now over in Clio, and so.
To buy new, it's about $150,000. It costs us $11,000, and ours is in great shape now, so.
I'm just saying, looking down the road.
We got to the point in Millington where
Got
they
all
just
this other
sold theirs
equipment,
because it was too costly to fix it, and then they just,
Leased it out.
they just had somebody come do it, they just paid somebody a service once a month to come do it, or once every 2 weeks or something like that. It ended up being cheaper just to do that than it was to maintain it, but theirs was obviously a lot older and was costing them more money. So I mean, in the long run, maybe something to think about is just leasing it out, having somebody come do it for us.
It's definitely consideration.
Is there a company around here that does that?
Not
I
that
can
I'm
get the
aware of.
number of what they use in Millington, but it's somebody that's in the area that does them.
It's a good gig if you get it.
Hmm, that's an idea.
if there's no more questions, I'll make a motion in the amount of 168 to pay the payment of claims in the amount of $168,073.05.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? New business, item A, reappointment of commission and committees.
New budget year, new appointment process. This is just to re-up the terms. Nobody has said they want it off as of yet. I found some errors in typing that we will fix for next month. And these are the people who have agreed to come back and serve on our committees. If you know anybody that wants to serve on our committee, just have them send a letter of interest, and next time there's a vacancy or an opening, we'd happy to throw their name in the hat, or their hat in the ring, I should say. I would approve authority by committee, by commission, by appeals.
I'll make a motion, we accept the 4-year term for the Downtown Development Authority with Victoria Devereux.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm not gonna make a motion for the Park Committee because I'm on it, so.
I'll make a motion for the Park Committee for 3-year terms for Jay Gardner, Richard Cushion, and Kathy Harris. Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'll make a motion to accept the 3-year terms on the Planning Commission for Adrian Cervini, Steve Paulus, and Bill Wood.
I'll support that too.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
And I'll make a motion for the Zoning Board of Appeals, the 3-year term for Tierney Sharp.
Is there only one on there? There's 3.
There's 3, but Chris isn't up this term, and I'm not sure the other, but they haven't met
Okay.
in quite some time.
Did I hear a second?
Yeah, need support.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item B, Beautification Day Proclamation.
Just a simple proclamation declaring May 16th official beautification day in the village of St. Charles. So it's a big deal around here, but this also helps with us applying to Tree City USA. We're now trying to become a Tree School USA, which again, you can go after tree grants and other plants so that the village doesn't have to pay for them. So of the 75 trees in the last 2 years, I think we've paid for 5 of them. So that's why we do the next 2. We were approved 2 weeks ago that our 2023 application for Tree City USA was approved. Our material should be here hopefully next week. You'll see another, like I said, it comes with a sticker. It goes over every year. You get a new one. I remember telling the story that my wife and I are coming back from a doctor's appointment and we got to get gas. And it's Tree City USA, and I don't know where we were, Livingston County somewhere. And it said Tree City USA 31 years, and I was like,
What?
that's good for them, you know, nobody likes a bragger guy. But we'll put our 3 years up when we get there.
Doug Holloway, is he still do the beautification thing?
He comes back, I believe he lives in Hazlet now, but he comes back for a day, and he really was appreciative of the bench they put uptown for him. That just was, maybe a month ago it finally got placed, so.
So you said plants too? Trees and?
Well, so this is what the goal is, yeah, bushes, things to
Nice.
beautify.
Nice.
They
That's
plant,
awesome.
the kids plant the flowers and stuff then.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you guys wanna approve these, it helps with grants and definitely lets people know when beautification day is.
I'll make a motion to accept the proclamation for Beautification Day.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
And I'll make a motion to accept the official proclamation for Tree City USA.
Support.
takes care of item C then, right? Get a second?
Darcy
Yeah,
seconded.
Darcy
I-
Oh.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item D, recommendation of award, hydro excavation.
We kinda already went over this.
We went over this, but we have to approve the contract. You have to approve the contract.
I mean, he is a little bitter, and you guys are highly recommending him.
Correct.
We'd like to keep it local, but that figure ain't happening.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Item E, acceptance of council resignation.
All you have to do here is to vote to declare the position vacant by law, and we will put a public notice into the Tri-County Citizen accepting letters beginning tomorrow for the vacancy of Mr. Jamie Kendall.
I'll make a motion to accept his resignation and declare his seat vacant until it is filled.
I'll support.
Roll call vote?
Paul Jandrowski.
Yeah.
Kathy Harris.
Yes.
Darcy McSwain.
Yes.
Jennifer Rosser Nesbit.
Yes.
Edgar Titoff.
Yes. Item F, budget amendments 25-8.
These are the bills that came in after we approved our fiscal year budget. We're just paying off last year's and moving forward with this year's as of April 1.
I'll make a motion to accept budget amendment 25-8 to amend the 2024-2025 fiscal year budget.
Support.
Roll call?
Paul Jandrowski.
Yeah.
Kathy Harris.
Yes.
Darcy McSwain.
Yes.
Jennifer Rosser Nesbit.
Yes.
Edgar Titoff.
Yes. Item G, cross connection control plan.
So this is Eagle's new big thing. Mr. Thurston brought this to me a couple days ago, and it's happening in other communities. I received this email the same day from two other communities, one in Tawas, one in, I believe, Hastings, but asking about what do you do for your cross-connection inspections, which now Eagle is really requiring us to do. Mr. Thurston, if you'd like to speak to this.
Yeah, it's been something that's been around forever,
I did place the proposal on your desk, just so you need it, if you need it.
but it's now becoming more of a necessity. They're really cracking down on it. We can go out and actually look into the businesses and say, okay, you have a cross-connection issue. But because we're not licensed plumbers and we're not licensed to check backflow preventers, we can't physically do it anyway. We can't do anything that's required of us. This H2O compliance, they come out, and they called it 90 locations in St. Charles that have these backflow preventers. They do 30 a year. It's at the cost of the business or homeowner. It's usually about $100, but you're only tested every third year, by the state's requirements. And they help do all the paperwork for the state. They come in and basically help us do what we have to do to be compliant with Eagle. Chesaning, I know, is doing it. I don't have all the people in papers in front of me, but they do about 6 or 7 local areas.
You guys can't get certified to do that?
You gotta be a licensed plumber. And you can't be certified for backflow if you're not a licensed plumber. And that's where the sticking point comes. We can't be 100% compliant, even halfway compliant, because we're not licensed plumbers, and we can't test backflow preventers.
The other communities are on page 4. And the total cost of the program is on page 12.
It's a 3-year contract, I believe, because they do it over a 3-year period, and we have to redo it from there.
And there's no reimbursement from the state for this by chance?
So they require those every 3 years to be tested again?
Yeah, they actually, if it's considered a high hazard account, they actually want it done every year. But that's where the sticking point comes. What do you consider a high hazard account? What is, and usually they say like doctor's offices and stuff like that, but they're not really using anything
I work at the eye doctor in Chester, and we get it every single year.
every year. So it's just,
Every single year.
Jason, will you explain what the cross connection is?
what is a cross connection? Let's say you got a yard sprinkler, or not a yard sprinkler, but an actual
Sprinkler
Yard.
system.
yeah,
Irrigation.
irrigation system.
Okay.
If you're hooked, if your water's hooked to that and there's a break in a main line somewhere in that area, it can actually suck the water from the ground out of your lines and go into our mains. And a lot of times that you use chemicals on your grass and stuff, these backflow preventers prevent that from happening. If that back siphon ever occurs, it just shoots the water off and it doesn't allow it to go back down into the main.
Basically a check valve.
It's a check valve, but have you ever seen on the side of a house, like where there's a pool, it almost looks like there's a bell type thing sitting on the wall? That's a backflow preventer.
Okay.
That's to keep, like, if you ever had your hose hooked, sitting in your swimming pool, and something happened, it could actually siphon the water right out of your swimming pool, right into the main.
Okay.
So that's what those prevent, and they're testable, so they have to be tested. But they can only be tested by a licensed plumber that has a,
So how have we been doing this all these years?
We really haven't
We
been.
really,
And Eagle really hasn't been on anybody for that, but now,
since last October, I've been looking into it, I've been doing the research, and this is where it's led us.
and that's why you see all of the communities now are like, hey, what do you guys do about this?
What are you doing? Hey, you're getting on us here.
Do you include residential inspections in your program? If so, do you include all residential customers or only
Actually,
certain?
residential, as of 1988, residential was added, but right now they're hot and heavy on the commercial side. But residential, most of it is, like I said, is sprinklers and pools, and they're not even testable devices. So we can physically go out and look at those and say, okay, you have it, but it's not testable, and you can move on with your life. It won't cost anything, but it's more for the
Oh, it
businesses
does
that
that.
have the, like the meat cutting counter
Not
over at
yet.
Frank's. They got that long hose coiled up in their slop sink. They can suck that out of there and cause trouble.
The company mentioned by other managers is HydroCorp,
No,
I got a story about that.
but they say they do include residential, but the frequency depends on the risk category, so I'm guessing
oh,
Not,
they take that
I
into
know the one now, I
consideration.
didn't know his dad.
No, his dad.
Yeah.
He was at home.
So we've never had any problems then in the past?
What's that?
We've never had any
Test the
problems
water
in the
and
past
stuff?
with this, not doing anything like that?
We do test the water.
yeah,
Um,
so I wonder, yeah.
I know we have, I've been looking for paperwork on all these testable devices that we're supposed to have.
You wouldn't have to
and I
bid?
have
Yeah.
nothing, so I can't provide anything. That's why
We
we
got
talked
lucky
with
then.
my district the district engineer, our district engineer, and she's been working with me, and that's how we got to H2O compliance. And then through Rod and Chesney, he's been using them for years. They do a great job. We recommended them, and Parker Brown, I think is his name. And, I've called 3 other places, they all love what they do, it's helped them, great deal, so. That's how we got to them.
Okay. So are we looking
Oh,
to
monthly, that's nice. Okay.
accept them as,
We're looking to accept the control program proposal.
I'll make a motion
motion to accept the cross connection control program proposal.
Tongue twister.
I'll second.
Roll call vote?
Paul Jenderski,
Yeah.
Michael Nesbitt is absent, Kathy Harris,
Yes.
Darcy McSwain,
Yes.
Jennifer Rosser Nesbitt,
Yes.
Edgar Titoff.
Yes.
If you are a plumber or know a plumber, this would be probably a good company or good business to get into. It's very lucrative.
Well, and H2O actually doesn't bring their own guys, they recommend local plumbers that can do it, so they don't just bring in their own people and take over.
So they get paid and then just outsource.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
They have guys that'll do it, but they like to use local if they
Yep, I
can.
love it. I love that.
I know.
But I'm just saying, if you're a plumber,
They won't force anybody on you, if you got a
No.
local guy, they'll let you use it.
I would probably look into that.
We got plumbers.
Department
They gotta be
report,
plumbers that are licensed and have that certification to do that.
That's nice, they break it down into.
Yeah.
DPW,
Okay, last month in water, we pumped 3,830,000 gallons. Air Construction ran 2 new service lines to houses as part of the leftover money.
You guys don't do that anymore?
There was money left over from the last project, so they're still doing work
Oh,
on
I heard
that.
you guys do it over at Sunview, wasn't it?
We did the one on Sunview, yep. But these were still part of that last project, so it didn't cost any more.
Okay.
We're still using old money. Clinton, repaired the service saddle on Sunview. Repaired a water shut off on Ithaca Road. I had to order a disinfectant byproduct kit, which I have to get to Lansing. Installed a new battery at the water tower, hooked up generator on the water pit when the power went out, and turned on the freezer. I thought that might make people happy.
I'm there twice this week.
The sewer was 6,323,000 gallons pumped. The main generator went out right when the power went out. So we had to use our portable generator till about 9:30 at night. Take it down to the big lift station, and then luckily we have those mission control boxes. It calls me when there's a high alarm, right on my phone. So we'd leave it down there pumping the main sewer. When the school called and said there's a high alarm, we'd run it to the school, pump that one down, then run it back over to the main, and we did that until about 9:30, until the power went back on. Cat did come out and they were able to get it fixed about 2 weeks later. Took sewer samples to Chesaning, and got approval for dumping the lagoons. Streets, tried to keep the streets patched. Monk's Tree Service cut down the tree on Walnut, kept up with the trash uptown, fixed broken fence at the office. Got a lot of the brush piles from CHOP as they were going along, we tried to keep up with them. Fixed the ceiling tile at the Secretary of State building, fixed the door at the Goodrich building, and we also rehung the siding on the Goodrich building, cause that was ripped off in the storm.
Just put a couple signs up there too.
Huh?
Put a couple signs up on Hosmer too.
We
eh?
did.
True.
We did. The parks, we cleaned up large limbs at both parks, worked on tables, fixed the fence between the park and the apartments, fixed boards and poles on the fence around the parking area at Coal Miners Park.
That needed it, we seen that.
They were getting pretty
They
bad.
were pretty bad.
We pulled a bunch of center posts out too and redid those. And then, we cut up about 4 or 5 bad trees that were hanging out over the trail in the woods there in the park. On equipment, we had to fix a hose on the backhoe. We got some stuff ready for spring cleanup. Finished up repairs on the mower deck, kept trucks clean as possible, and fixed the mower deck on the Kubota mower.
I have a question. I know we have a main generator at the sewer pit,
Yep.
and we have the one portable. If this,
It's
it
a-
shouldn't happen again, but do we need a second portable generator? Not to spend any more money, but just in case this happens.
We don't need another portable generator.
Okay.
If you wanted to do anything, I would say we need a stationary generator right at the school, so that, just like that one, it just kicks on when it goes and we don't have to mess with it.
Okay.
We have a small generator that runs the water pit. We can fill that thing up and it idles for 12 hours.
Think the school would be willing to partner or go halvesies on something like that?
You know, it would be a little hard because that fenced-in area isn't big enough to hold one, so that would all have to get bigger.
Gotcha.
So it would, what we usually do is that one kicks on, we take the big trailer mount down there and that thing will run forever on a tank of gas, and we just leave it sit there and we go home.
Right.
We have alarms on our phones that call us if something goes wrong, so if one of them go out or something happens, we'll know then.
Right.
But usually we don't have to do that. The main generator went out, so we had to keep shuttling it back and forth.
Okay, I just know
We got by.
we lose power quite a bit, so generator, I just
No,
was questioning.
that one's running great now, and,
Okay.
yeah, we don't need another report.
It was just a fluke,
fixed.
it was just a fluke.
Yeah, oh well, hopefully.
Okay,
I had noticed the one in the office is running when I come in the morning some days.
Is running?
Yeah,
Well, you get once a week they'll run.
yeah, it's like a testing thing, it just,
Yeah.
I never noticed it before, and then lately I've noticed it quite a bit, I don't know if the time's changed or not, but
And sometimes it
the
is.
first day I pulled in, I was like, oh man, we don't have power in the office?
I think ours runs on Wednesday mornings.
Yeah.
Make you coffee.
still Tuesday.
Thanks,
What's
Jason.
that?
Thank
Make
you.
your coffee.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jay.
Police,
All right. Traffic stops and tickets were pretty good this month. Self-initiated was around typical for us. Called for service for 49. Ended up with 63 total reports. That being because some of those reports, the difference is some of those are just walk-ins, so they're not actually called for service, they're just a walk-in report. Any questions on any of the reports that we have on here? I know there's a couple that look bad. The B and E with entering out permission, that's one where somebody had allowed somebody to stay in the garage, told them they had to leave, and they came back and pitched a tent. It was basically like more of a civil issue than anything, but we still took a report for them to give the owner a report, so we had it for his document, because he said some things were damaged or missing, but that's just something for them to take to court for a civil case. The larceny from parts for the vehicle, that was a family issue that took a license plate. 2 days later, called them back and magically they were fine. They got the license plate back and didn't wanna press any charges anymore, so. Larceny from building, 148 South Saginaw, that was somebody stole their trash cans. They needed a report, so the trash company will reimburse them and give them the can. Just, it looks bad on paper, but when you actually, get the report, there's really not much to it. The one computers and the telephone, those are all the same case, it's a parent sibling thing going on. Again, just documentation, don't say take it to court. The assaults, the simple assaults, there was a shoving incident at the food bank, and a couple of domestics that were just minor issues.
I got a couple of texts from a couple of people saying we were patrolling Oakley. Has that got anything to do with Mr. Ferguson over there?
Oakley, we don't patrol Oakley.
You were over there. I got text from him. You're
I took
sitting
with
in-
somebody out to Oakley, I gave him a ride, cause there was a gentleman at the gas station that was causing problems, and that's where he was trying to go to.
They were
So I
sitting
did a
at the-
favor,
Well,
hold on. So I took him out there to get him out of the village, cause I called ahead of time to verify that he could go to this place, took him there, left him there. And then we had a school bus red light case they were working, and the person was out there in Oakley, and Michelle was waiting for the person to come home, which is why she was there.
Was that at the trailer park?
I have no idea where it's at, cause
Where
she
they were
took care of him.
sitting?
Well, they were waiting for the person to come home, so they were
Covering
ready to
here
take
in
it.
town because they were sitting out in Oakley.
Well, I can tell you, they're not patrolling in
I
in
just
Oakley,
seen
they were
something on the
sitting, I
news
just
about
explained to
Mr.
you, they're
Ferguson, and
sitting
I
there.
just wonder if it pertained to that.
I was telling you what they did, but you're saying that I'm sending my officers to go patrol someplace else, but I'm not doing
I
that.
didn't say that. I said I got text saying they were there. They were there.
Yeah, and I just said that they were there because they were waiting for that person to come home to write the ticket for running a red light.
Stoddard's trailer park.
I don't know where they're at for sure, I don't know where the address,
They
but
were
I know it
sitting
was
there
in
for a
Oakley.
while. Wonder why they were out there not patrolling our streets. I mean, don't they have backup out there for,
Oakley can't write our tickets.
why, we could write tickets on Oakley.
The incident occurred in the village, the owner lived in Oakley. We have the video footage from the bus, we have to go to the person's house and write them a ticket.
It sounded like they were just sitting out there for a while.
Wait,
I got a couple different texts over it, so.
but I told you what they're doing.
Okay, I just wonder if it pertained to the, getting rid of the police chief over in Oakley, Mr. Ferguson.
I know nothing about that.
Yeah, what's happening?
I know why they're getting rid of the police chief in Oakley, but,
So do I.
any other questions about anything?
Thank you for your service.
I do have something I'd like to go over. There was after last meeting, a Facebook post was brought to my attention and some false information was put on Facebook about my department. And it was from one of you people that sit up there on the board, and I'd like to clear that up. We do not have 5 full-time officers. We have 3. One of which is a school resource officer, and the school pays for half of their salary. So we basically have 2.5 full-time officers that we pay for.
Or you're
I'm not done yet, let me finish. We have 3 part-time officers, 2 of which, one has not worked in 8 months. The other one worked November, Ethan, and he just worked last night. So from November to last night, he hasn't worked. We have another part-timer that he works on a regular basis, covers all the extra shifts for us. Those part-timers do not cost us anything else other than the hourly salary. So really, if you look at it on paper, what we currently have is lower in budget. What's costing us a lot of money is the pensions, not what we have now. So I bring this up because I would appreciate it if next time somebody wants to make a post about my department, they come and ask me about it first so they're not posting this information. Okay?
I'd like to add, I'd like to add something to that also, because I know what you're talking about. It was also said that we have never had that many officers on our department at one time, and yes, we have. Because when I was on the department, we had 4 full-time officers and anywhere from 3 to 4 part-time officers, so we have had more than 5.
You're telling me you're gonna hire another person, you guys are hiring another person. Michelle's basically full-time up to school, right, whether we're paying for half of it or not.
Mhm.
So there's 2, you're 3,
We're hiring a 4th. We currently have 3.
so we got 4 full-time or we'll have, and 1/2, 1 part-time, is that what you're saying?
No.
So we're clear?
Yes, yes. Well, we'll have 3 part-timers on the books, but only 1 that regularly works.
And then once Michelle's done, we'll have 3 months of her, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
I'm just clear, we'll have basically 4.5, 5,
Well, not full-timers though.
4 full-time and 1 part-time.
Mhm.
Right. That's what we
Can
said.
I ask
Exactly
something?
what
What
was
is our
said.
protection? How many hours a day is this going on?
Currently, I am trying to get 20 hours a day.
Okay,
I'm
That's
trying to get
7
20
days a
hours,
week?
yes,
okay.
trying for that. Trying to give the taxpayers what they're paying for, which is dedicated coverage. Dedicated coverage means you have somebody that's assigned to this area. Now, there is county deputies that work in the whole county, but they have 1 to 2 cars on at a time, that's it. So, they could be over in the city of Saginaw, we have a call here in the village, it could take them 20, 25 minutes before they get here. I want to have the coverage here for you people that are paying for these taxes, these millages. So that way, if you get a call, we can be there in a minute or 2 instead of 20, 25 minutes.
Okay, cause I remember back in the day when Kathy was patrolling, we had coverage all the time.
Yeah, I'd like to get 24 hours, but our budget would allow us just for this 20 hours.
That's when we had 7 officers too.
Isn't this budgeted for?
Could we ever
Yeah.
mix with the township?
Are most of them sheriff departments,
The township. doesn't
stationed
have
out there on James
I
Township?
know,
But
but
they're a little-
They are, but they don't ever like stay out here because we have somebody in the village, so they go to the other places that aren't.
I see them sitting at the old gas station today.
Yeah, they're around, but they're not like here all the time, they're not dedicated here.
Don't they go up to school?
They have a school resource officer in Chesney,
They got one at school, don't they? They have I see them back there all the time, and I see one in Chesaning too.
that car hardly ever moves.
Yeah, just saying, I see the car there, and I see it back by the maintenance building, I see them in Chesaning School, both of them at the school.
There's a school resource officer at Chesney School.
Sheriff Department.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
that's the
There's a car
contract
there,
out with
there's
the
a car
sheriff's
here.
department. That person stays in the school, he doesn't come out and patrol.
I'm just saying, there's a sheriff department parked there. and there's-
What I'm saying though is they don't patrol our area, they don't have coverage from us. They are out other places, that's why we are here.
So it really wasn't misinformation when they said you got 5.
Yes, it is,
How is
because we have 3 full-timers right now.
Well, 3 full-timers, because you're hiring another one, because 1 quit, but you're gonna
But
have.
currently,
4
we only
plus a
have
half.
3. We only have 3.
4 plus up another part-time, so you're gonna have 5 officers.
Well, what
correct?
was put
That's
in
not
Facebook
misinformation.
was the wrong
Yes, it
thing
is.
at the
Yes, it
time.
is.
It's 1
What he's
quit.
trying to say.
Are you
just-
gonna have 5 or
It was
not?
before your
Argue about
post.
Are you gonna have 5 or not? Is that what you're shooting for?
No.
That's not misinformation, yeah, you are. You just told me you're gonna have the 4 the full-time and 1 part-time. That's
Going to,
5.
but we don't have to say.
Simple math, 4 and then 1 is 5.
But it's part-time, we don't pay, there's a
Still
difference
5.
between paying full-time and part-time.
Part-time or full-time,
You're
it's still
only
five.
Come on, let's get this wrapped.
I would just appreciate you come talk to me next time, before you put something on
Well,
there.
the misinformation then was,
Yeah,
it was
it
still
is.
5 people, wasn't it?
No, it's not. can't, you're not gonna understand.
Why stir up everything?
4 and 1 is 5.
Part-time and full-time are different.
Still 5.
Building inspector, code enforcement.
So Scott apologizes. His stepfather kind of raised him is in need this evening. So you'll see that some of these are restarts, some of these are extended, some of these are written. 632 is back in business and we caught birding illegally again. So that'll go to court. Spring is the time people start, fixing up things. Obviously I talked about one permit that will be in next month, but there's 3 permits this month. People are starting to come out of hibernation and do work again. So.
Why is 1105 North Main starting over
Well,
again?
they're doing work, they have to brush out this month.
I don't believe he will be living long enough to take care of this.
Oh, really?
So we granted a 90-day extension as of today.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I see 327 is starting to do some work.
Yep. And going forward, as we've asked before, if you're going to actively go after somebody in a complaint, you are going to fill out a form or send an email. This anonymous tip stuff is causing a lot of problems amongst neighbors. Obviously, there's some neighbors that are vindictive and vengeance, and we need to know that there's really a cause. We will check out all complaints and treat them seriously, but I think we have a system now in place that if you're gonna go after somebody, we need to make sure it's not personal. So that's what we're gonna do.
It probably should have been that way all along.
We've tried, and people still go around and go sneak into Scott's office or go find them out on the road and say,
Well,
hey.
it's not much different than what was going on over on Paget with Mr. Boothinger and the guy across the road. I mean,
Yep. Now you're gonna put your name to
Everyday
it.
stuff.
So we got an email today. I don't want my neighbor to know, but well, at least your name's on it. And
yeah, that's what I said. If you got a legitimate complaint, you'll put your name to it. If you don't, you shut up.
right.
And don't put it on Facebook.
But yeah. So
I hate Facebook, I'm sorry.
We call those keyboard warriors.
Oh,
Keyboard gangsters.
there's one last thing from Scott. Let me see if I can find it. That's not it. He knows in the past there's been some court cases mentioned in this area. The court case filed against him in Jonesfield, where he was named, has been fully dismissed with prejudice. The plaintiff has the option to appeal to a higher court, but I don't believe that will go through. They will need to appeal to the federal appeals court. So, just wanted to update you. He wanted to make sure you knew that. So I said I'd read it.
Public comment.
I just have a couple questions if I could.
Come on up, sir.
You brought it up, so I'm just following up. The sidewalks, you're going down Ithaca and then you're gonna cross over to the school, right? Where are you gonna cross over at? You know, have you picked that spot yet?
We have not.
Definitely not on the curve.
Not on the curve, okay, cause I lost it one time coming home from work, the curves get a lot of shade, and when it gets wet, I took out a fire hydrant up here one time after work, and it was probably my fault, I was tired, but I didn't get a ticket anyway, thank God. But anyway, I remember that. Yeah, they put a little in there, but anyway, and that, and, our lawsuit about the signs, where's that gone? I haven't been here in a few months, and I'm just curious.
It is
if it's-
ongoing.
It's ongoing?
Yep.
Are we paying for that, or is that covered, or,
Our insurance has covered everything at this point.
okay, do you know that isn't getting settled out or anything?
The next, I believe, discovery is next April 15th, where
Okay.
both parties bring their evidence forth, and I have not heard any information from our attorneys since probably December, and then just the calendar of events.
Okay, in the police department, the sheriff is busy in the city of Saginaw because understaffed all the time. I know some people work in the city.
I would
So
just,
we don't get anybody from there out here.
I would just add that I believe the sheriff and MSP got into it, and MSP pulled all of their cars out of the city. So you are gonna see some crazy events.
Still in Midland of Salisbury there, but
Yeah, they're not going into the city anymore to help.
You're saying about the sidewalk. Are we gonna joint that up with the apartments up there for the kids
That's
up there?
that's the goal. The goal
Yeah, just
in
gotta
the
go
in the
be-
application that I wrote, the goal was to include as many kids as possible. So I had the previous superintendent give me, without names, without ages, just where our students live, essentially.
Years past, there used to be a trail in there.
Yep.
There still is,
Yep.
wide open.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
So
but-
the goal is to include as many kids as possible, with that being a major one.
And then
But
being,
that's as far as the sidewalk goes
Correct.
is to that.
Correct.
Yeah, 'cause we own property there.
most of the kids now go from the apartments through the woods to the
Yep.
school.
So this will hopefully give them a path and kids just a little bit near them.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr.
Kevin.
Kilborn. Anybody else?
Motion to adjourn?
Can you get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned.